Okay, let me make sure everything is working. Mic check. Yeah, that looks good. Game audio also looks good. All right, everyone, welcome back to eTournaments. I am your host for this evening, Gibular Bob. Welcome, everybody, to eTournaments Breachers once again. This time we're back with Aspect versus GE's. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of GE's before. I'm eager to see how they play in tonight's matchup. Let me give the teams the go-ahead to start, and we'll get right into this. We do have everybody in the lobby right now. First map, going to be Skyscraper with Aspect on the defense. Bit of an interesting choice. Skyscraper here. G's starting off on the offense, A3 on the defense. Spectral's coming out from G's, and their roster lineup is Lorgo, Firecop, Rip, Jimmy, and Rafe. And over on Aspect Solo, I Blame, Faded, Grouchy Gizmo, and Big Lunch. Nice opening here from both team. Spectrals across the board from G's. An Aspect with 3 Spectrals, a Taurus, and a Jesper. They're ready to go. Oh, it'll be nice if I switch over to the game screen. There we go. Anyways, we're getting ready to start off round 1 here. I'm curious to see how G's attacks this. Again, completely new team to me. I've never seen them play before. Haven't seen any of their players in action, so this will be exciting. Maybe they're a sleeper team, and they'll put a lot of pressure on Aspect, which is one of the more well-known teams in Breachers. 2 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock. I Blame over in server room right now. What is G's deciding to do here? They're over by the upper south stairs. Moving around. They've got a tough defense here from Aspect. They're spread very, very well. Gizmo and I Blame both covering the server room as G's may look to full send it down the upper south stairs here. We'll see what they decide to do. 2 minutes 10 on the clock. And it seems like, I don't know, maybe there's some hesitation from G's. They're deciding exactly where they want to push in, but they're not quite sure how they want to attack Aspect here. Solo the Roamer as Rafe Cruz over on upper north right now, followed by Rip and Jimmy. Meanwhile, the other 2 members, Firecop and Lorgo, downstairs in bathroom right now, Faded over by the podcast. This is a very, very delayed push from G's. Of course, you always have to be very, very careful when you stall for this much time because everybody on Aspect is alive and their job becomes easier. Every second, G's is not moving towards the site. It seems like they're kind of sketched out by the push in here. Firecop and Lorgo heading up the stairs. Firecop securing the refrag on Faded, who picked up Lorgo. And just like that, we're down to a 4 versus 3 as Solo taking out Firecop. As I'm speaking, less than a minute on the clock right now. Rip on upper north as Big Lunch now making their way to the upper north hallway. Just hanging around inside a podcast at the moment. 45 seconds on the clock as I Blame finds a pick of their own on Rafe Cruz. And it's now just down to Rip and Jimmy. Jimmy all the way over on upper south as Rip actually finding Solo, but will be refragged by Big Lunch. Good positioning there from Aspect as we see 25 seconds. Jimmy over in upper south, now heading into the vents. I Blame my aim, waiting in the server room, but there's really not enough time to plant that EMP. Jimmy going for the picks. Here's I Blame my aim, looking to swing. But I Blame my aim now heading down. Oh, this is a good crossfire setup by Aspect. It's a bait by I Blame, but there goes the timer. And Big Lunch securing that kill onto Jimmy. What has been a very, very nice start to this game for Aspect. Very good. Had to get the stream pulled up in the other window there. Again, very, very nice start from Aspect. Of course, GE3Z was able to find some of those core picks that they needed, but at the very end there, you saw iBlame baiting out, I believe it was Jimmy, all the way over to Upper South, and then started heading down the stairs so they could set up a crossfire with Big Lunch towards the back of the broadcast hallway. So, I mean, Aspect have some very, very nice positioning here. They're a team that's, one of the top teams in any kind of Breachers competitive league you go to, no matter where it is. They're a very, very strong team. And that's a good indication of why. They've got really, really nice positioning. And they know how to deal and adapt with any kind of team. I think, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were saying that Aspect is very dangerous because of how quickly they adapt. Grouchy Gizmo taking out Lorgo in an early pick for GE3Z to give up. There goes a frag. As Grouchy Gizmo over in the broadcast hallway will go down to rip RXR. Aspect losing some of these core gunfights that they really need. When you're that roamer on Skyscraper, it's important that you do win some of those gunfights to do as much damage as you can to your opponent. Faded finds rip RXR, making use of that Taurus's Fire Cop, looking for a refrag, but Faded finds a second before going down to Jimmy. And it's now a 2 versus 3 with GE3Z down by 1 player. Big Lunch tucking in lower lounge as Solo, iBlame by aim, out in the conference hallway. Heading over to lobby lounge, where Rafe Cruz is right outside of that window. Oh, and I think Aspect may know exactly where that push is coming from, as iBlame my aim sneaking their way up to that corner of lobby lounge. Here comes Rafe Cruz. iBlame finds one. Solo on the crossfire there. Supports iBlame my aim and gives Aspect their second round here on Skyscraper. Plunge, how's it going? Welcome to everybody in the chat. Demonator, welcome. It's certainly been a strong start for Aspect. They're now able to field all 5 of their Vezins as, they're able to pick up 1, but look at this. Rip can afford a Vezin. They're half buying. Okay, interesting eco strategy here. This isn't one that I can say I've seen before. But a couple of their players are half buying. I don't know. In this kind of situation, you want to go for those rifles because this is ideally when you're closest to shutting down some of the eco from your opponent. I mean, if Aspect wins this round with their Vezins, they're going to have a lot of money to play around with. Here comes a frag as Gizmo hopping out, taking out Lorgo. And actually, there's a free Vezin for GE3Z. Jimmy recovering that. Gizmo going for an aggressive play, but it looked like a bit of an overextension. Aspect are giving up a lot of free picks to GE3Z here. Fire Cop over on Upper North is Big Lunch taking out Rip. Fire Cop looking to rotate back over the roof as Jimmy now in the radio window. And there's a trip mine just inside. If Jimmy goes in, oh, Jimmy's swinging in. Oh, that's not good. Oh, right into the trip mine as Solo finds Jimmy. Faded taking out Rafe Cruz. You always have to make sure that your droner clears that window. And Solo taking out Fire Cop right now. Ooh, we've got a disconnect from GE3Z. Maybe they will return. But what I'm seeing here is kind of a critical flaw from GE3Z. They have a very, Very fragmented offense. It doesn't seem like there's too much coordination. Rip reconnecting. But when you have that droner, it's important that, you utilize that drone properly. Either you're pushing the drone in so that your team can push in, or you're using that drone to root out and clear for roamers. Now, G's are looking to purchase 4 Vezins and a Cadillo in the hands of Lorgo. But Aspect's pockets have gotten pretty deep at this point with their hat trick of wins. Of course, a reminder, between rounds, there will be a trivia question. Answer it correctly, and the fastest in your name will get a chance to enter $20 to enter a drawing for $20 at the end of the month. So stay tuned. Make sure you answer that. Solo taking out Lorgo as Grouchy Gizmo finding Rafe Cruz. 2 very early picks for Aspect to give up. There goes a frag grenade. Catches quite a bit of damage on Rip RXR. And Faded just holding the north stairs. Let's see, there we go. Oh, fix the invisibility. But G's have lost 2 of their players before they can even really develop their strategy into the building, tossing that EMP over to Rip. And it looks like they are going to try and play for some picks as Jimmy trying their luck once again on the upper north stairs. This is dangerous because there's some roamers from Aspect just over in the upper lounge. Jimmy going for some shots as we see 2 minutes on the clock right now. Grouchy Gizmo is in the broadcast hallway, maybe caught by Fire Cop. As Fire Cop approaching from the flank. Gizmo turning around now and will catch Fire Cop. Nice pick from Gizmo there. Rip now down in courtyard as I blame my aim. Oh, picking up some damage from Jimmy, who's looking to... Oh, wow, what a frag. And I think I blame my aim communicated that to Gizmo very well, but Jimmy finding a pick. Now realizes that, they realized this before, but their best bet is to play for picks here, and I blame my aim with these perfect reads, taking out Jimmy in a quick 4-0 from Aspect here on map 1. I didn't get a chance to look at the prediction, but we'll see who voted who at the end of this. Aspect doing very well so far. They're Aspect, so they're going to play well no matter what kind of situation that they put them in. They've gotten some core picks that they needed, but again, we're seeing a very fragmented push from them, and I think they needs to work on their eco a little bit. They only have 1 Vezin up right now, and the rest of their players continue to push on their wallets, and it makes sense when you're in competitive environments like this to go for those eco rounds. It doesn't matter the game that you're playing, Counter-Strike, Valorant, wherever you are, sometimes it makes sense to eco, to save your money and buy cheap on one round so that the next round you can afford a coordinated push with the utility and the weapons that you need. But G's are just putting so much pressure on their economy right now. I don't think they have the opportunity to do that. 2 minutes 50 on the clock. As we see I blame down in lobby right now. Lorgo on upper north stairs. 2.5 minutes on the clock as Faded taking out Jimmy. Aspect, they're getting a little greedy with... Oh my goodness! Wow, that would have been an S-tier frag if I had ever seen one. But it needed just a little bit more moment. Oh, Fire Cop taking out Faded. Aspect are getting a little greedy here. They're searching for those picks as Solo finding Lorgo. Speaking of picks, I think a big problem that we're seeing here from G's right now is they're giving Aspect a lot of 1 versus 1s, which is not something that you want to do, particularly. Rafe Cruz being picked up by a proximity alarm. Not good for G's. As there's a minute 50 on the clock right now. Solo over in upper lounge. and Aspect are doing a very, very nice job of just keeping G's out. They're looking for they're assessing their options, but they're playing for picks. Unfortunately, Aspect is not going to really give them any more picks. They got a little greedy, but they're not a team that's going to throw around because they get greedy, you know? Fire Cop over on upper north stairs. 1:15 left to go. G's looking to get in the building, but it's kind of tough for them right now. Here comes Rip being caught by Grouchy Gizmo. We'll find some damage with that frag grenade, however, as we see Grouchy Gizmo once again going for a very, very greedy play. Only 45 seconds left on the clock. There's 2 rounds left in this first half as Solo looking to swing out. I think possibly knows that somebody is there on upper north. Ralph Cruz looking to respond with some fire of their own as Fire Cop taking out I Blame My Aim and recovering that Vezin. G's are showing those signs there. Rafe Cruz taking out Grouchy Gizmo with a Viper. As Fire Cop now down in the broadcast hallway. Big lunch being picked up by Fire Cop. Oh, wow. This may be a round for G's, but Solo finding Fire Cop. Looking for a second on Rafe Cruz. He looks to swing in. Very nice positioning from Solo. And a quick peek gives Aspect their 5th round in a row. Let's take a look at the scoreboard here. Over on Aspect, Solo 8-1, Grouchy Gizmo 6-4, Faded 5-3, I Blame My Aim at 3-1, and Big Lunch also 3-1. Over on G's, Fire Cop 4-5, Rip 2-5, Jimmy 3-5, Lorgo 0-5, and Rafe Cruz 1-5 at the moment. We're on the halftime round, round number 6. I don't know why I was going to say round number 2. And currently, Aspect, best case scenario for them is a first half lockout, 6-0. They'd only need to win 1 round on the offense in order to take map 1 from G's. And for G's, their best case scenario right now is to go 5-1. In which case they'd have a lot of work to do in the second half, to say the least. We'll see what they decide to do right now. There are Vezins across the board, except for Lorgo, who is running a Cadillo. Not too much utility in the hands of G's right now, as they are going to play that picks strategy once again. 3 minutes on the clock, a fresh round. They've opened up upper north. One thing I think G's might need to work on here is to utilize some of their other opportunities for entry. Now, you know that a lot of Aspect is going to be playing on the roam, so there are some windows directly into sight. A well-timed rush into the site may be enough to throw off Aspect, because they know that G's is playing slower. Fire Cop and Rip both heading over to upper and lower lounge. Grouchy Gizmo taking out Lorgo, as Rip heading over to lower lounge. Solo waiting just inside of lower lounge. Finds some damage onto Rip, who's going to push, and Grouchy Gizmo finding not 1, but 2 picks. It's now down to a 2 versus 5. With G's in a pretty tough spot here. Rafe Cruz up on the roof right now. Where is the second one? Where's Jimmy? See if I can find Jimmy. Oh, there's Jimmy. Again, they're just forced into this play for picks strategy. So we see Rafe Cruz here. They're very split apart here on G's. And again, you don't want to give your opponent too many opportunities to get those 1v1s. Not looking good for G's. No, not looking good for G's, to say the least. There's less than a minute on the clock. They do not have possession of the EMP. And Aspect are just so... They're getting greedy here. Grouchy Gizmo is looking for those picks and almost finds one onto Jimmy. Geez knows, of course, they can play for picks, but of course you can't do that for too long. There's to an extent, you know, your opponent is not going to give you those picks if they know that's the strategy you're going for, unless you're Grouchy Gizmo, who's getting very, very greedy. Ooh, almost ran right into two of them and found the kill on Jimmy before going down to Rafe Cruz, who's now the last member of G's standing in this first half. But unfortunately for them, over on G's, no time left to really execute any kind of strategy. Faded taking himself out with reverse friendly fire, and Solo closing out the first half with a 6-0 game for Aspect. So now we're going to see that Aspect offense, which is fast. They are going to play hard and they're going to play fast. At least that's what I think they're going for here. They're a very coordinated team. We've seen this. They spread out across the map, but they're always close by to one another. You know, they're able to set up crossfires very well. It shows they can rely on each other as a team. And it takes, I mean, even if you have a decent team, it takes a lot of personal skill and trust to kind of put yourself in the hands of your teammates to make sure they have your back. But Aspect, very, very nice team there. They have that down, and again, that's one of the qualities that you need if you're a top team. We'll see how G's responds on the defense. Of course, they do say Skyscraper is a defender-sided map. We'll see how they approach this over on Aspect. Faded, Grouchy Gizmo. I blame my aim. All outside the podcast room as they are on the move, getting caught in a static field. Tauruses from both Faded and Gizmo as Aspect looking to move in, droning out, mixing. This is, again, going to be that fast breach. There goes the door blocker. There goes the breach as Lorgo in the back getting caught by Grouchy Gizmo. Jimmy is surrounded by Tauruses. Grouchy Gizmo finding a second kill there. Rip on the flank as Big Lunch picks up that kill. Meanwhile, Faded taking a Fire Cop. And it's just down to Rafe Cruz. He's looking for that Taurus pick in Solo, finding Rafe Cruz, and it's a 0-7 game with Aspect picking up map number 1. And it was a very, very fast first map here. Only been live for about 22 minutes in total. Very, very well played from Aspect. They dominated this map. Jeez, definitely having some tough opposition. If we take a look at the scoreboard here, Fire Cop 4-7, Rip 2-7, Jimmy 3-7, Rafe Cruz 2-7, Lorgo 0-7. Over on Aspect, Grouchy Gizmo 12-5, Solo 10-1, Faded 6-4, I Blame My Aim 3-2, Big Lunch 4-1. As we head into map number 2, teams are currently voting on that map. I wonder where they'll decide to go. Wherever they head, Aspect is going to start off on the offense, and G's will take the defense. Take a look here. Map number 2 going to be Hideout. A map that Aspect very, very familiar with. I guess they're familiar with quite a few of those maps, but we'll see how they decide to attack. Forgot to give them the go-ahead to start, but there we go. As we are now getting ready to head over to map number 2, not round number 2. With, again, Aspect starting off on the offense. G's taking the defense. And here we go. Spectrals across the board from both teams, with Faded picking up a Taurus and Lorgo buying that Jesper. We'll see now that G's has clean slate and they're starting off on the defense. Maybe they have a much better defense than they do an offense. We'll find that out in just a little bit. Again, thanks to everybody who is currently watching in the chat. If you're just joining us right now, Map 1 ended 07 with Aspect the winner there. We're getting into map number 2 right now. Remember, of course, if Aspect wins this, they'll win the entire series. Rafe Cruz over in storage. Here comes the breaching foam from I Blame My Aim. Grouchy Gizmo with the frag, tossing it back over into Site B. Not quite hitting the fort, which I think was the target there. Faded, taking out Fire Cop as Grouchy Gizmo pushing deep into Site B, taking out Lorgo, looking for the second on Rip and will find it. Not stopping, finds Jimmy as Solo taking out Rafe Cruz. Round 1 goes to Aspect. And what is a very nice start, Solo taking out Faded there. Ooh, how did that happen? That was so quick. I think map 2 is going to go faster because map 1, of course, Aspect is on the defense. So that gave G's a lot of time to play for picks and set the pace of the offense. But now they are forced to respond to a very, very fast game from Aspect. And Aspect is not pulling their punches here. And they've picked up 3 rifles, so we may be in for a quick first half here. G's, of course, going for that double eco. You know, again, not much you can do in this situation. They're picking up 3 Tauruses. So I think their plan is to try and hit those headshots. Let's see who will get a possible pick onto Aspect here. Grouchy Gizmo heading over into bedroom. There's a good read as Fire Cop taking out Faded, but will be caught by Solo as I Blame My Aim finds the kill on Jimmy. Solo pushing up through the death hallway, heading over to the door blockers. Big Lunch moving in with a frag grenade. Proximity alarm going off in bedroom as Grouchy Gizmo finds one and is on a rampage, picks up a second one. It's now just down to Rip RXR, and I Blame My Aim will find that to give Aspect round number 2. They're just so efficient on the clears here as they pick up round number 2. And here we go into round number 3. Another eco round from G's. Again, they're very, very quick to buy, but they're not giving themselves the opportunity to buy those Vezins. When you're properly ecoing, see, this is because a couple of teammates or players bought Tauruses in the previous round, and that didn't leave them with enough to afford Vezins this next round. Remember, when you open up the buy menu, it won't tell us this because this is the cast version, but it tells you how much money you'll have to spend the next round. And as you purchase gadgets and weapons, that amount will go up or down depending on if you buy or sell things. But you have to make sure that you're giving yourself enough eco. This is an important part of Breachers. Faded taking out Jimmy as Grouchy Gizmo just not stopping for anybody. Faded taking out Rip on a nice flank there. Here comes Aspect moving into Site B. Grouchy Gizmo getting caught by a flashbang, but still not stopping and finds the kill on Fire Cop. It's now just down to Rafe Cruz, who's using that Canut, the 50-50 gun. Now only 2.5 minutes on the clock as Rafe Cruz is almost caught. Maybe caught here by Grouchy Gizmo. He's looking for those. Oh! Rafe Cruz finding Grouchy Gizmo before being picked by Solo. As Aspect pick up their hat trick once again. Big Lunch taking himself out to reverse friendly fire. Let's take a look at the scoreboard here. Rafe Cruz 1-3 along with Fire Cop. And the rest of G's yet to secure a kill. They're all 0-3. Over on Aspect, Grouchy Gizmo 7-1. I Blame My Aim 2-0, having a perfect game, along with Solo, who's 3-0. Faded at 3-2, and Big Lunch 0-1 at the moment. But I mean, Grouchy Gizmo has just been so quick on the trigger over here for Aspect that they haven't really had an opportunity to secure a kill of their own. Aspect, again, very, very quick. They've got 3 rounds in the bag here. There are 2 Vezins up in the hands of G's. G's have been able to win some of their gunfights, so there's potential there, but their eco needs work, and their strategy needs a lot of work. Remember, in a game like Breachers, it's not just gun skill. It's also how you interact with a team, how you play the eco game, save your money, double flashbang. Here comes a frag into the back of Site B. There's one in the fort. Oh, that's going to catch rip. RXR, early pick for Aspect as Rafe Cruz picking off I Blame My Aim. Faded taking out Rafe Cruz. And it's now down to a 4 versus 3. Here comes Fire Cop over in Site A as Grouchy Gizmo drops the remaining 2 in Site A. It's now just down to Lorgo, who's over rotating into Bar, looking for Gizmo. Keep both hands on that Taurus there, Lorgo. There's some shots being fired through Arcade, and Lorgo is just caught by Solo. And it's now 4-0 with Aspect in the lead. Trivia question is in the chat. Remember to answer that, and you'll be entered into a giveaway at the end of the month where you have a chance to win $20 US. Trivia question: what is an 8-sided shape called? I do see Dementor got that right. An octagon. Oct, referring to 8. Nice little prefix there. You can usually tell how, what the number is referring to by the prefix of a number. Prefix, not prefix. So oct there, meaning 8. You get a decagon, hexagon. You can tell, again, how many sides it has usually just by those first couple of letters in the word. But anyways, here we go into round number 5 as we get ready to close off this first half. Not an S-tier frag from Gizmo, as we see Gizmo moving over to Site A. A couple kills from both sides make this a 3 versus 2, but here comes Grouchy Gizmo over into Site A on the flank. Big Lunch finding Rip RXR. Rafe Cruz able to pick up a kill and almost takes out Big Lunch, but they find that kill first. It's now 0-5 with Aspect in the lead once again. EMP is planted, and here we go. One more round from Aspect will end in a 6-0 first half lockout for Aspect. They're on fire tonight, to say the least. Doing very, very well. I believe I'm catching that breaching foam. And again, I mean, I am seeing potential in G's here. They've been able to find some of those picks against Aspect. And on Skyscraper, they were able to find some of those roamers, but yeah, they've got some problems here, some serious problems that they need to work out. Some strategy, and then of course the eco game. Because right now they're only able to field 3 Vezins. Now you do see those on again, off again strategies where they'll pick up 3 Vezins and then they'll set up for 2 players to have 2 Vezins in case that doesn't work out. That's been a strategy that's been around for a while, but again, we're seeing half eyes from Rip and Jimmy, so that's not what they're going for. Grouchy Gizmo taking out Rip with an S-tier frag as Big Lunch finds Rafe Cruz. Jimmy, Con and Connector will be taken out by Grouchy Gizmo as Fire Cop over in Garage, now dropping right into the Vezin from I Blame My Aim. Lorgo taking out Solo as it's now just down to Lorgo, the last member of G's standing, rotating through Wine Cellar, and will be caught by Faded. Very nice setup there as Aspect pick up 6-0 first half lockout once again over on map 2. And here we go. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Aspect, Grouchy Gizmo 12-2, Faded 6-3, Solo 5-1, Big Lunch 4-2, and I Blame My Aim 3-2. Over on G's, Ralph Cruz 4-6, Lorgo 2-6, both Fire Cop and Rip 1-6, and Jimmy 0-6 at the moment. As G's now taking the offense, and ooh, it's rough for them. They're going to have a lot of work to do once again. No mistakes if they want to tie up this map and then go for a possible third. But we've seen their offense, we've seen their defense, and I think it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them to get around here against Aspect. Rafe Cruz up on the roof along with Lorgo and Rip. Here comes a swing in as Big Lunch does go down to Fire Cop. Solo taking out Jimmy as Grouchy Gizmo found a frag onto Rip. Jimmy taking out Solo with a frag from beyond the grave. Fire Cop and Rafe Cruz, ooh, they're swinging into a double swing over on Aspect. Rafe Cruz finding the kill on Grouchy Gizmo. And Lorgo is over in Site A. May catch Faded here. If Faded isn't... Oh, wow. That was a beautiful headshot from Faded as it's now down to a 2 versus 2. Fire Cop... I mean, everybody here is pretty low on health. Player with the most currently is I Blame My Aim. He's over in Death Hallway. May intercept Rafe Cruz. This is 2 minutes 10 left on the clock. Finds one. It's now just down to Fire Cop, who's in bedroom. The last member standing over on G's. And their last hope for this series tonight. Minute 50 on the clock, and I Blame My Aim over in Site B. Not pushing their luck. Faded might. Faded's just running around looking for some picks. Jiggle peeking the hatch. They don't know where Fire Cop is, and Fire Cop will find that kill. Now looking to swing. I Blame. Oh, almost found I Blame My Aim. There's only a minute 20 left on the clock. So time is in I Blame's favor. Fire Cop recovering that EMP. Here we go. A minute left on the clock. This Fire Cop rotating over to Site A. This is a big moment for them. They could keep their team in the game here on map 1. Fire Cop looking to plant that EMP. I Blame definitely heard it. Now rotating on the flank, and I Blame My Aim catching Fire Cop as Aspect are going to claim this series. They're going to get that defuse off. And that is going to be your series for tonight. Very well played by Aspect all around. 14-0. It was a clean victory from them, and they were having some fun with it in both of these maps. And normally you wouldn't see them jump out the windows with zero regard for their life, but yeah, it was tough for G's. I think they, again, I've highlighted what they need to work on there, but again, they found some good picks. So it's just tough to go up against a team like Aspect. There's the scoreboard for you. Gizmo 13-3, Faded 7-4, I Blame 5-2, Solo 6-2, and Big Lunch 4-3. Who are we missing over here? Is it? I think it's Fire Cop. Yeah, Fire Cop 3-7, Rafe Cruz 5-7, Lorgo 2-7, and both Jimmy and Rip.RXR 1-7. Well played from both teams, but that is going to do it for us over here at eTournaments. Real quick, we're going to go over who makes eTournaments possible. Big thanks to our sponsors. Of course, starting off with Kiwi Design, your go-to source for top-tier VR accessories. Elevate your gaming experience with their meta controllers and more. And if you're looking for a thrilling new game that challenges your hand-eye coordination, a VR game that is, Check out Gravity League. Can you prevent the ball from getting past you? Download the game on Oculus VR and find out. We're also proud to have Echo Master League as one of our newest partners, reviving the spirit of Echo VR players. And calling all Rocket League fans, make sure to check out Ultimate Rocket League, or URL, for exciting 2v2 and 3v3 tournaments. Get ready for some high-octane action. And of course, our eTournaments streamer partners shoutouts. Let's shine a spotlight on some of our fantastic community members. A big shout out to Sweet Life, a variety streamer with streams starting at 6 p.m. EST. Don't miss their sponsored VR chat open mic on Thursdays at 10 p.m. EST and a casted D&D campaign at 9 p.m. EST on Fridays. And of course, let's not forget about Jucifer, one of our respected partners and a variety Twitch streamer for Gravity League, Echo VR, and eTournaments. Make sure to show them some love and give them a follow. But for now, it's been a short cast, but I've enjoyed being here with all of you. My name is Gibular Bob. This has been eTournaments, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night.